it's an honor to be 45 years old and still considered one of the kids. So thank you. I say that when we're younger, we're wiser than our years, and when we're older, we're more childlike. So, and my story kind of began back in 1977 when I was 10. And my mother at the time, she had been in SRF since I was a little baby. And so she had heard that there was this community called Ananda. And she wanted to experience for herself what it would be like to actually have the teachings of Yogananda in a community setting, because only going to Sunday service, you don't get that same experience. So anyway, she decided, she was married at the time, and of course her husband at the time was not wanting to go with the whole program, so they divorced, and she decided to sell all of our belongings and move up to this little community that she had heard was up here in the foothills. And of course we were in Southern California in Orange County, so here I came from this huge public school system with hundreds of kids, and so with no belongings except what we had, our clothes and my hamster and Barbie dolls, and that was about it. So one hot July we came up here, and where you enter now at the Ananda Village, there used to be a little white building. And I remember it was really funny because we came up, and here was two men came out, and they were dressed in these yellow cotton pajamas, I thought. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And they had their beards and their knots on top of their heads, their long hair, and it was Keshava and Prakash. So they were monks at the time, and greeted us very warmly, and welcomed us to the community. And a couple months later, I ended up starting school. Well, of course, not a very big school. We were up on the hill, this little tiny schoolhouse, 8 children. That was it. And and here was Nitai trying to lead the pack, and he had the vision and the kind of the leader of, all of us, and so he became not only our teacher, but our mentor and our life coach. And so we began, and one of the things, the first thing out of the gate, we were 10, remember, he said, I want you to read the autobiography of a yogi, and your assignment for the school year is to write your own autobiography. And I was like, wow, okay, where do I begin? So I thought, well, this is going to be a challenge, and I've never had a teacher ask me to write my own feelings, and here I was, put on stage almost, rather than just being one of the kids among hundreds. Here I was having this one-on-one with this teacher. So I kept a little diary that I still have today, and it started back, I thought I'd just read an excerpt, and I thought, being wise beyond your years at this age is not a bad thing. So my little excerpt was dated June 21st, 1979. It was on willpower. Today is the summer solstice. In my meditation, I asked Yogananda why I wasn't seeing him and what was keeping me from finding God. He answered in my head calmly that what I need now is willpower. He then said, do not let your mind wander, or it will become a habit. With steadfast meditations, you may see me. But there are also steps you take and accomplish before God realization. Don't try going on higher steps until you have accomplished another. God gave me the same power he gave you. The only difference is your willpower. If you choose your own to sit around, that is God's response. And if you choose to put out every bit of energy, that is God's response too. P.S. This was a 3-hour meditation, very peaceful. Of course, we were willing to try just about anything. I believe that coming to Ananda when I was 10 and being there in the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade was kind of the formative years of your life. And it's really important, those years, because that's when you're most influenced. When you come as a child, yes, it's a good foundation and you learn quite a bit. But if you leave that, you forget. And if you come in high school, you've already have your preconceived notions of who you are, who your peers are. You're not as willing and open to listen to teachers. You think, oh, I know better. But coming in those years, I think it was divine intervention. Really, we were open. Here we were, these young, open children to whatever our teachers had to say. We thought, oh, okay, they must know what they're talking about, whether they did or not. But we were open and receptive. And every teacher that was here was a professional in their own right. I mean, it was amazing. We had an ex-LA Rams football player who was our PE teacher. I mean, wow. So we were winning our games like crazy. We had Biasa, who was a scientist, and he was teaching us about learning about the solar system, we went outside and we got to see for ourselves how to see a solar eclipse. And we had, Maitri was teaching us how to play flute, and also one of our first dorm leaders. And then we also had Claire Dumont, who was French-Canadian, but she taught us French. And Bharat, who, as you know, is Joseph Cornell, and he has written Sharing Nature with Children. And those experiences, teachers with such profession and background to give you that experience is something so valuable. They're not just a standard teacher who are teaching to the test, to the STAR standards or the SATs, but you're really learning about how to learn, and that's what makes the difference. Education for life is just that. It's an experience that prepares you for the future. And Ananda, to me, it has always been kind of my home. And no matter what the ups and downs and life changes, I've always felt that I had a place to come home to. And the other thing that we had, which is really a neat experience, is being able to work in the community. Every part of our education wasn't just being in the classroom. It was also being part of the community and working outside. So here we not only had the teachers, but we had the experience of all the people and resources in the community. And so they became our teachers and mentors too. We got to work in the, Nirmala was teaching stained glass. We had a workshop so the boys could learn how to do woodworking. We had beekeeping and incense and oils. We had a dairy, and I spent many, many days with Nikula and Gamata back in those days, learning how to make cheese the old-fashioned way, with curds in the way and standing over a big pot. And we worked in the, we'd pick strawberries in the garden and then make kefir and yogurt. And we learned how to work in the publications building, which taught us about business. We worked in Master's Market, and although I was horrible at math, and Nitai can testify that I'd be to tears in how to learn math, little did I know that he was actually getting me out there, and I'd have my own salad bar, and I had to make cash for people, so I had to learn math. Or working in the market, I had to learn how to work the register. So having these experiences at a very young age, you really, it prepares you for life. And also, of course, having the spiritual background, because so many people these days are just at a loss. They don't know where to turn. And, every person has in their own way their own faith, but I think there's a huge part of that spiritual connectedness and community and support, to know that that's always there in your life and will always be there. What more for happiness in your life? So what I've done, because I had this great experience on my own, I've been able to pay it forward, and I think that's really important. So I've become a big sister with Big Brother Big Sister, and my little sister, she was 9 years old when we started, and she's 12 now, and